A software engineer grabbed a random word from a dictionary, in this case, the word beehive, and within hours, designed an algorithm that saved his company millions. While his colleagues were working harder, he was thinking differently. This breakthrough didn't come from luck. It came from lateral thinking, a systematic approach to finding solutions hiding in plain sight. I'm Phil McKinney, and welcome to my innovation studio. In this episode, we will cover the lateral thinking framework. Now, this is not theory. This is a practical, step-by-step system you can use immediately, and you will try your first technique in the next 5 minutes. And by the end of this episode, you'll have 4 specific techniques that transform how you approach problems, plus practice methods that will make mastery inevitable. And hey, if you like this kind of framework thinking and it resonates with you, then hit that subscribe and like button. It helps us with the algorithm. If you want to dive deeper into these topics, then subscribe to my studio notes over on Substack. Plus, if you know someone who might find this episode useful, feel free to share it with them. All right, let's dive in. Here's what most people miss. Breakthrough solutions don't come from thinking faster or working longer or harder. They come from thinking differently. While everyone else improves using existing tools and approaches, lateral thinkers reimagine the entire problem. For example, Southwest Airlines didn't create a better airline experience. They reimagined air travel as mass transportation. Tesla didn't build superior cars. They reconceptualized personal mobility around sustainable energy. These companies succeeded by approaching familiar challenges through completely different frameworks. The question isn't whether you're smart enough to solve problems. Look, you are. The question is whether you're willing to disrupt your thinking patterns to discover solutions that conventional logical approaches will totally miss. But here's where most people get lateral thinking completely wrong. And understanding this distinction will determine whether you develop breakthrough capabilities or just become better at brainstorming. So, what is the distinction between linear and lateral thinking? When faced with a problem, most people use linear thinking. They analyze what's wrong and optimize within existing frameworks and constraints. It's logical, it's sequential, it's comfortable, and focuses on improving current approaches. Lateral thinking does something completely different. Instead of improving what exists, it changes how you perceive the problem itself. Now, let me illustrate the difference with a really simple example. When customers complained about long wait times, linear thinking said, for instance, at elevators, make the elevators faster. Lateral thinking asked a different question. What if waiting wasn't the real problem? Could you come up with a different solution? In this case, the department store installed mirrors next to elevators. People stopped complaining because they were distracted, looking at themselves, seeing a reflection of something behind them, kids playing in the mirrors. They were distracted, and they didn't notice the time it took for the elevator. It wasn't because the waits got shorter. Linear thinking improved the elevator. Lateral thinking eliminated the problem by changing what the problem actually was. Now, this lateral thinking is Edward de Bono's systematic method for shifting perceptions entirely. As he has explained it, quote, define breakthrough solutions, change where you're looking, not just how hard you're looking, end quote. The challenge is that people lack creativity. It's that they don't have systematic methods for breaking free from the mental patterns that limit them. Lateral thinking offers a very specific set of techniques for generating what de Bono referred to as movement in thinking. When everyone else in your industry follows similar approaches, breakthrough opportunities emerge for those who think differently. While competitors optimize existing methods, lateral thinkers discover entirely different approaches. This operates on 4 distinct levels that build systematic capabilities. The progression from beginner to expert follows a pattern that I think will surprise you. So, the lateral thinking framework has these 4 progressive levels. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of each so you have some context before we explore each of them in detail. Level 1, suspend judgment and break patterns. This is your foundation level. You'll learn to deliberately disrupt automatic thinking responses and embrace ideas that seem absurd. This creates the mental environment where breakthrough solutions can emerge. Level 2, random input for forced connections. This is an intermediate level skill. You'll use systematic provocations, challenges, to force your brain into unfamiliar territory. This isn't random creativity. It's controlled disruption that bypasses your brain's tendency to look for solutions in familiar places. Level 3, challenge sacred assumptions. Now, this is an advanced thinking skill. You'll systematically examine and reverse fundamental premises everyone else just takes for granted. This is about creating movement in thinking by making the familiar strange. In the 4th level, embrace deliberate absurdity. This is expert level. You'll find breakthrough solutions by seriously exploring ideas that seem obviously wrong. This isn't about being silly. It's about using absurdity as a systematic tool for discovering hidden insights. So let's do a quick demo. Before we dive in, let's try one of these techniques. Think of any current challenge you're facing. Now grab the nearest object, a pen, a coffee mug, your phone, anything. In my case, my water bottle, right? Spend 30 seconds asking yourself, how is this object like my problem? Force the weird connections. So let's say you picked up a pen. It runs out of ink. Maybe your problem needs fresh input. Now, if you picked up a coffee mug, it holds liquid, or my water bottle here, maybe your challenge needs a container or needs some kind of boundary around it. Your phone, you picked up your phone. Your phone connects people. Maybe your issue needs better communication. Notice how this random object sparked different angles. That's lateral thinking in action. Now, this was just a taste. Each level has systematic techniques that amplify this effect. And here's what's powerful about this progression. You do not need to be a master in all 4 levels to see dramatic results. Level 1 techniques alone can solve problems that teams couldn't crack for weeks. But when you combine all 4 levels, you develop innovation confidence, that unshakable belief that creative solutions exist for every problem. And I mean every problem. But the real power comes from developing what I call innovation confidence. It is the systematic ability to find creative solutions when conventional approaches hit dead ends. So, are you ready to transform how you approach problems? Let's start with level 1. But I need to warn you, what seems like the simplest technique often produces the most unexpected breakthroughs. Now, let's face it, your brain is a pattern recognition machine. And in level 1, you got to break the pattern. Now, these patterns, we look for familiar situations and apply solutions that have worked before. This efficiency usually helps when facing new problems, these patterns become invisible barriers that prevent you from finding new solutions. Level 1 breaks these patterns systematically. And here are the 3 specific techniques. Technique 1, change your routine. Disrupt both your thinking environment and daily patterns. Your brain associates thought patterns with specific locations and routines. If you always brainstorm in the same conference room, you'll have the same results. Even if you get yourself comfortable in ruts in the form of driving the same way to work every day, you reinforce this kind of mental model that ruts are okay. Now, Southwest Airlines used these level 1 techniques brilliantly. Instead of studying airlines, they went off and they studied bus transportation. This environmental change broke their mental patterns about air travel. They literally went out and met with bus companies, Greyhound, private lease buses, local city bus processes, etc. And they discovered point-to-point routes, eliminated assisted assigned seating, removed meal service, and focused on quick turnarounds. Now, every innovation came from thinking like a bus company, not an airline. You can apply this by changing where and how you tackle your problems, taking different routes to work, using non-dominant hands for simple tasks to get out of the pattern, changing when you tackle challenging problems during the day. Change it up. Make things exciting. That exercises the brain. These disruptions create mental flexibility that carries over into your creative problem solving. Got it? That was technique number 1. Technique number 2, question core assumptions. Write down 3 assumptions about your current challenge, whatever the problem is you're facing. And then ask yourself, what if the opposite were true for each assumption? Most problems have hidden assumptions we just never examine because we just assume it's true. Example, if you were given the problem of improving customer service, your assumptions might be that customers want faster responses and they prefer human interaction and they'll contact you when the problems occur. Now consider this. What if customers prefer thoughtful responses over fast ones? What if they choose good self-service over poor human service? What if you could help customers before the problem even arises? Suddenly, you're thinking about proactive support, comprehensive self-service resources, and quality over speed. These insights come from questioning assumptions everybody else accepts. That's technique number 2. Technique number 3, time box the impossible. Spend 10 minutes seriously considering solutions that seem impossible to your problem. Often impossible means we haven't figured out how yet. Amazon's same-day delivery seemed impossible until they reimagined warehousing. SpaceX's reusable rockets seemed impossible until they questioned whether rockets had to be disposable. What seems impossible in your field might just need different thinking. It might need deep thinking. Pattern breaking works because it forces your brain out of these automatic modes. But what happens when you want to accelerate this process dramatically? This next level introduces something so counterintuitive that it seems almost absurd until you see what it can create. So, level 2, random input techniques. Level 2 introduces controlled randomness that forces breakthrough connections. You'll learn to make your brain create links it would never naturally make. This technique created Post-it notes at 3M. A scientist had failed adhesive that barely stuck. A colleague needed better bookmarks for his church hymnal. The random collision of these unrelated problems sparked sticky notes. This repositional, pick up the sticky notes and be able to move it around. I live on sticky notes. I usually have sticky note pads all over the place. And now that generates over $1 billion, multiple billions of dollars annually for 3M. So what's the process? Step 1, define your challenge in one clear sentence. Be specific. Step 2, generate a random input. Open a book to a random page, Close your eyes, find out a word. Use online random word generators or grab 3 random objects around you. Force the connections. Step 3 is force connections. Spend 15 minutes finding ways to connect your random input to your challenge. No connection is too weird. The stranger is the better. So let me give you an example. So let's say your challenge is reduce employee turnover and the random word is garden, right? So let's make some connections. Well, let's see. A garden needs watering. So employees need consistent check-ins. Gardens grow better with proper soil. So maybe the work environment matters more. Nice office space, culture, those kinds of things. Garden requires pruning dead parts. So maybe we need to focus more on eliminating toxic behaviors. Gardens have seasonal cycles. Adjust expectations based on the business rhythms. Now, these random connections lead to employee development programs, environmental office improvements, cultural changes, seasonal workflow adjustments, such as maybe shorter work weeks in the summer, longer work weeks during critical seasonal times of the year. None of these insights come from traditional HR thinking. So why does this work? Random inputs bypasses your brain's tendency to look for solutions in familiar places. They force neural pathways that would connect naturally. Breakthrough solutions often hide in unexpected combinations. Which level is clicking for you so far? Level 1, level 2? Pattern breaking or random connections? Both build the foundation for what is coming next. Now, before we go deeper, let's practice with what you've learned so far. Pick that same challenge from earlier. Now try a different level 2 approach. Grab any book, open to a random page, and point to a word. Now, spend 1 minute connecting that word to your problem. So, what new angle emerged? This compound effect, layering techniques, is what breakthrough thinking lives. The random input technique accelerates breakthrough thinking by forcing neural pathways that would not connect naturally. But there's something even more powerful waiting in level 3, a method that challenges the very foundations everyone else builds their solutions on. So let's talk about level 3. Level 3 challenges the assumptions that others just take for granted. This is where lateral thinking becomes powerful. You'll start seeing opportunities that are invisible to your competition. Netflix used what-if lateral thinking to transform entertainment. In 2007, they dominated the DVD by mail with 7 million subscribers. The industry assumed customers wanted to own movies. Physical media provided the best quality, and broadband was too slow for streaming. Netflix challenged every assumption. What if customers did not want to own movies? What if delivery delays were barriers, not services? What if broadband ever became fast enough? More radically, what if we cannibalized our own successful business? These questions led to streaming launch in 2007. Today, Netflix has over 240 million subscribers. They went from 7 million with physical DVDs to 240 million over streaming, generating 31 billion annually. While competitors who didn't question assumptions have just totally disappeared. They've gone bankrupt. They're out of business. So what's the process? Step 1, list your core assumptions. These are the things everyone knows are true in your field. Step 2, reverse each assumption completely. If customers want speed, ask, what if they preferred slowness? If more choices seem better, ask, what if fewer choices improve satisfaction? Now we get to step 3, push to extremes and chain your questions. Chain them together. What if this took 10 times longer? What if resources were unlimited? Take your best scenario and ask, what if about that result? So make these weird combinations and then ask yourself, well, what if we could make this happen? What if we could really achieve this? Here's where the real challenge comes in. Keep pushing until you reach uncomfortable territory. The biggest breakthroughs come from when you challenge assumptions that feel fundamental, like rules. What if thinking reveals hidden opportunities within your assumptions? However, the most counterintuitive breakthroughs often come from an approach that seems to violate common sense entirely when you really push to the edge, which brings us to the expert level that turns logic on its head. This is level 4. This is expert level in lateral thinking that embraces deliberate absurdity. Yes, I call this specifically deliberate absurdity. You'll find breakthrough solutions by doing exactly the opposite of what seems logical. It sounds counterintuitive because it is, and that's precisely why it works. So, IKEA revolutionized furniture by providing what seemed like terrible customer service. Instead of delivering assembled furniture, they made customers assemble it themselves. This reversed every industry assumption. Customers would work instead of receiving convenience, invest time instead of getting immediate use. The backward approach revealed hidden benefits, dramatically reducing shipping costs, minimal storage requirements, lower prices, and surprisingly, customer satisfaction from successful assembly. They achieved something, actually made the feeling about that product or service even higher. What seemed like terrible service became a competitive advantage, and IKEA now generates 38 billion euro annually. So what's the process? Step 1, list your industry, how you typically handle similar challenges. Write down the conventional wisdom that everybody follows. Reverse each approach. The furniture is fully assembled so they can take it home and use it right away. We deliver it, all those things. If your industry emphasizes speed, maybe consider slowness. If everyone wants more features, maybe consider fewer features. Step 3, explore the reversals seriously. Don't dismiss opposites immediately. Look for unexpected advantages in seemingly wrong approaches. Don't assume that, all of our customers want faster service, so we should not even consider anything different than that. Do you really know that? This is your chance to challenge that. And sometimes the best solutions hide behind what appears to be absolutely terrible ideas. So here's a real example. The Dollar Shave Club did the opposite thinking of what all the other razor manufacturers were already doing. While the industry focused on premium features, advanced technology, and retail partnerships, Dollar Shave Store eliminated fancy features, used simple razors, and bypassed retail entirely by offering direct subscriptions. So what's the results? While major brands competed on blade technology, 3 blades, 4 blades, 5 blades, and sharpening edges and all the fancy features, and spent money on premium positioning, Dollar Shave Club captured a massive market share by doing everything the industry thought was wrong, and it was acquired for $1 billion. The most counterintuitive solutions often hide in directions that make everybody uncomfortable. So if you're thinking about something in this scenario in level 4, and everybody's like, whoa, I don't know, that doesn't sound right, then you might be on the right path. In this case, don't just think outside the box. Think in the opposite direction of the box. So now you have the 4 levels of lateral thinking techniques. Do you know what separates people who learn these concepts from those who actually master them? A system of practice that transforms theory into instinctive capabilities. So here are following 2 practice approaches that transform lateral thinking from theory, conceptual understanding into instinctive skills. Use them solo for breakthrough thinking or with colleagues for collaborative problem solving. You choose. Approach number 1, the assumption breaking generator. This combines 3 powerful techniques for compound breakthroughs. Now start with the real problem you're facing. Step 1, list 3 core assumptions about your challenge. Things everyone knows are true. 2, reverse each assumption completely. What if the opposite were true? Step 3, grab a random word, book, phone, ask someone, and force connections between that word and your reversed assumptions. So, for example, your challenge is improve customer service. The assumption is customers want speed, prefer humans, and contacts with us with the problems. The reversals. What if customers want thoughtfulness over speed? What if they prefer self-service? What if we helped before problems arise? So now we're going to apply the random word of garden. So gardens need seasonal care. Maybe customers need different support at different cycles. This creates insight you've just never reached with a single technique alone. That's so approach number 1, apply that, exercise it, do it through a number of your problems, try it in a session with teams. You will be amazed at what the output can be. Here's practice approach number 2, the escalation challenge. Perfect for pushing what if thinking to breakthrough levels. Start with a real problem, propose a what if scenario addressing it. Keep pushing ideas to more extreme territory until you say, that's impossible, but what if we could? So let's do an example. What if customers never waited? What if they were served before they even arrived? What if we predicted needs before customers knew them? Suddenly, you're thinking about predictive analytics and anticipatory service. So here's some practice tips. Use real problems, not theoretical common ones. Don't reuse the ones I'm using here. Create new ones. Start with 15-minute sessions. The more ridiculous ideas become, the better. Document insights immediately. Have your pad, write it down, sketch it, put it on Post-it notes. Practice daily for compound skill building. This, getting out of the rut, is going to cause your brain to need to be exercised. But this is another one of those exercises where you need to be doing it on a day-by-day basis. And here's the hard part. Embrace absurdity. Breakthroughs hide in impossible ideas. Now here's your practice plan. Choose one approach. Apply it to your current challenge. Spend 15 minutes. Document what emerges. That's simple. Then try a different approach. Try approach 2 tomorrow. Build lateral thinking into your regular problem solving routine. Put it in as your tool, add it to your toolbox, pull it out whenever you think it's appropriate, and particularly when you're stuck. Now, the key here is practice transforms these techniques from interesting concepts into instinctive capabilities. The more you use them, the more naturally you'll see solutions others miss. Now comes the moment of truth. You have the complete framework, but what you do next will determine whether this becomes just another interesting video you watched or the beginning of a fundamental shift in how you approach every challenge you face. Companies investing in lateral thinking see documented ROI from 5-to-1 to 20-to-1 return. Individual professionals have shown a 300% increase in the viable ideas that come out of using lateral thinking. But the real value is personal transformation, becoming someone who consistently finds those breakthrough ideas. Now, your assignment is simple. Pick one problem you're currently facing and apply one technique right now. Not later, right now. Start with whichever level feels most appropriate. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Maybe I combine a couple of them, and share your discoveries in the comments if you feel comfortable, or send me a private note. What patterns did you break? What random connections led to new insights? What assumptions for you, your business, your industry proved to be wrong? Your examples help others see possibilities and builds our breakthrough thinking community, adds value to the overall discussion. So, if this systematic approach resonates with you, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Now, I release new videos and new podcasts every week that transform how you approach problems, opportunities, and make better decisions. For better behind the scenes and deeper behind the scenes insights into these innovation, decision making, and thinking skills, subscribe to my Substack over at Studio Notes. Try that out. That's where we actually go into everything we've talked about is over there in more detail. In the insights, frameworks, and tools and guides I've developed and used over my career, that's what I put over on the Studio Notes. You'll get practical systems you can use immediately. Now remember, innovation confidence isn't believing you're naturally creative. It's knowing that creative solutions exist for every problem and having systematic skills to find them. You now have these skills through lateral thinking, and you have access to breakthrough solutions that are available to anyone willing to think sideways instead of just thinking harder. The question isn't whether you can develop breakthrough solutions. You can. The question is whether you'll commit to practice that makes mastery inevitable. While your competitors perfect yesterday's solutions, you will be discovering tomorrow's breakthroughs. The world needs more lateral thinkers who find solutions that lie hidden in plain sight. Now go forward, think sideways, and let me know what you discover. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.